Hey friends, welcome to Talk 65. This is a funny title. It's When There's Poop on the Wall, God Still Shows Up. Seems like an interesting title, but really, I have been so thankful for people that have walked alongside me, that have showed up in their everyday life and have communicated to me what God is doing in their life. It's not the huge testimonies of what God is doing, it's the small everyday things that sometimes build my faith the most. My friend Tara was at our last retreat, and she gave a message on just the power of our testimonies. Not the big, crazy ones, although those are awesome, but the small, everyday testimonies. I really feel like you're going to be encouraged by this message. So enjoy Talk 65.
Have you guys ever heard a word pretty much your whole life and kind of knew what it meant, but didn't really fully know what it meant? Yes, yeah, we can totally call that out. So, as a newer believer, I heard the word testimony all the time. And it wasn't until I was asked to give mine that I actually looked up the definition to figure out what it meant. So good old Google, because ChatGPT and I are not friends, defines testimony as evidence in support of a fact or assertion. Proof. Proof of an assertion. So here we go again for the people like me who know words but don't really know them. Assertion. Something declared or stated positively. So from a dictionary standpoint, if I state positively that I'm a piece of bread, my proof being that I'm white and fluffy, I'm golden. Biblically speaking, however, the definition of testimony is evidence given by a witness, meaning one asked to be present at a transaction so as to be able to testify to it having taken place. I often say I wish I would have known God sooner in my life, but that wasn't really how it worked out, and that's okay with me. It's up to him. So I'm going to pull up this slide of my sweet family because you're about to hear a little bit about them. Oh, you're going to hear a clip? I don't have many at all. So these are my babies and my amazing hubby and my dog. The bunnies are not up here, but there's bunnies too, I promise. But you're going to hear me talk about these guys because they're my world. So my first testimony, because testimony is simply proof. I need you guys to hear that part. Testimony is proof. That's it. Okay. So I have a few, but this one began in my kitchen. It was a simple, horrible mom kind of day. There was literal poop on my walls, guys, disgusting. I had a sick kid. I was stressed to the max. My husband was at work and couldn't come home. And I just hit my breaking point. And I remember standing in the kitchen just sobbing and just feeling like I was just a failure at everything I was doing. And I had been going to my first ever Bible study, and I was like, wait a second. I remember we talked about this. I'm supposed to lay this down at your feet. Okay, I got this. So I said, I can do this. And I hit my knees and I raised my hands in the air as high as I could. And I was sobbing and I said, Lord, help me. I can't do this alone. And in minutes, things changed. Testimonies don't always play out like that. I was so blessed in that way. My husband was able to come home and help me. My daughter's doctor finally called, was able to get her back in. I found the cleaner for the poop on the wall, so that was exciting. But it was such a simple moment, and God stepped right in and turned everything around for me. My first testimony is small, but it's mighty. It doesn't pack a punch. It doesn't come with some super dramatic story. But my testimony, small as it may seem, was my proof that God's always going to be there with us when we surrender our control. Good. This simple testimony opened the door to so many beautiful moments that I could have chalked up to coincidence had I not had the proof that God was with me. But testimony isn't coincidence. Testimony isn't just a story. It's a moment that changes your life. It's a moment that gives you this little light inside, Jesus' light. It's a moment that you go and tell everyone about so that others are going to hear of Jesus' presence in it. Well, it's not some crazy, oh man, you won't believe what happened to me last night kind of story. It's a, wow, you won't believe what God walked with me through. Yeah. In John 1:6, it says, God sent a man, John the Baptist, to tell a story about the light so that everyone might believe because of his testimony. John himself was not the light. He was simply a witness to tell about the light. Our testimony involves us, sure, but it's a story about God. And telling others is exactly what we are to do so that we can spread God's light into this dark world. Now, sometimes our testimonies are beautiful, but they have a little bit of conviction in them. Because yes, God is a loving and faithful Father, but he's also going to call us out on our stuff. One night, my husband and I took the kiddos out to catch fireflies. Silly me, I gave these sweet little babies glass jars. I have a 4, 6, and 8-year-old. I am an idiot. Okay? We're just going to move past that. As you can imagine, in the heat of the summer and late at night, we were done. My husband had been done for at least 10 minutes, just fighting me to go inside. He also wants me to mention that there was a storm rolling in, so he doesn't look like a complete monster in what I'm about to tell you. But I kept pushing through because, got to make those memories with the kids. So my oldest accidentally drops the largest jar, and it shatters all over the driveway. My husband got so angry, like red hot anger. And I kept saying accidents happen. But when we're mad like he was mad, like, I get it. You don't want to hear it. So kids and I went inside. My daughter continued to cry and feel terrible. And so I just kept saying to her, accidents happen, you're okay. Accidents happen, and it's going to be okay. Bedtime came, and I was mad that he had blown up. He was mad at the whole thing. So when he came to bed, he rolled over with his back to me and didn't look at me once. And for whatever reason, well, I know the reason now, yeah. This scripture that I had seen quite a few times that week was flashing through my head. Ephesians 4:26. And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil. Yes. So I thought it over. But he was pretty mad, and I don't know, I think I might be able to stand up against, some things. So I went ahead and rolled over and went to bed. And the sun went down on my anger. 4:50 in the morning, my alarm starts going off. I press the button, when we do when you're like, forget this, I don't have time to wake up right now, so I'm just going to hit that. It didn't stop. I thought, that's weird. I guess my phone's broken. And I looked at it. My husband's calling me. This is at 4:50 in the morning on his way to work. I've been in an accident. His voice was calm, but annoyed. So I just kind of assumed it was a small fender bender. Asked if he was okay. He's like, yeah, I'm good. Police are on their way. Great. Call me when you're done. I stalk his location because I am a stalker like that. And I noticed that he's at the entrance to our neighborhood. So the way our house is set up, I can see it. So I stand in the kitchen, and it is 4:50 in the morning. There's no sunlight. It's raining. And all I can see are hazard lights flashing. And I can't see quite far enough. So I go outside, tank top, booty shorts, yeah, in the pouring rain. And I just want to see what is happening. Is he okay? Is the car okay? What's going on? I just stand there anxiously waiting. Y'all, it was no friend or vendor. In an attempt to pull out of our neighborhood, there's a bush blocking, and my husband was T-boned. And the moment he got out to make sure the guy was okay, the man began yelling at him. My husband's response, accidents happen. Sometimes our testimonies are stories of God telling us, hey, remember that time I told you not to do something, but you did it anyway? Well, I went to bed angry. And I could have lost my husband that day. But by the grace of God, he walked away with a tiny scratch, a totaled car, and a testimony of his own. My testimonies are all so different. Some big, some small, some messy, some convicting. But the craziest part is that these testimonies prove something so much bigger. God was always present, even when I didn't ask. These testimonies allowed me to look back and see that God was there through so many times. It was never coincidence. It was God. Yes. When I stood and watched as both my grandfathers took their last breath and left this world with our whole family surrounding them, God was there welcoming them in with open arms. When I found out I was pregnant, I was told by the ER doc that it was twins. One was dead and the other's dying, she said, only to carry to term a beautiful, healthy girl. God was there to strengthen me every step of the way. When I birthed my 3 beautiful babies, including Lynn, one of them wasn't breathing correctly. God breathed air into her lungs. When I met the love of my life, things went a little wonky, but he brought us back together a year later and basically said, hey, Tara, you're a ding-dong. He's pretty amazing. You should probably keep that going. When 1 o'clock in the morning on July 5th, just hours after my daughter's birthday, rolled around and our home was robbed of all of our belongings, our safe, our dressers, our TVs, our kids' Bibles, our pictures, our privacy, everything we had worked for. But God kept us safe and shielded us from physical harm that day. Your testimony is your proof. The proof that God's with you in every moment, even when you didn't notice at that time. Once you get that proof, you can't deny it. You can't call coincidence anymore. Whether it's some crazy event that happened, or whether it's sitting around a campfire with some random women on a weekend, your testimony is your proof, and it matters. Whether it's big, whether it's small, it matters. Whether you've grown up your entire life knowing God, but realizing, wait a second, I had a moment there where I felt connected to him. That is your proof. So what's your testimony? Ladies, no matter how big or small, it's time to own your testimony, your proof. It's time to realize that it's not coincidence. God, it's time to realize you were never alone. He was always right there walking with you through it all. And it's time to realize that when you open up and accept Jesus' love, you're never going to walk alone or the same again. Thank you, guys. Kara, that was amazing.